Hi, hello, my name is Madison Citroni. My topic is going to be about if e-cigarettes or teratogens or not. Let's continue. So what is a teratogen? A teratogen is going to be an agent that can cause birth defects or abnormalities in fetus from exposure. Some medications can do it, for example, isopropyl or isotretinoin. It's an acne drug that has been associated with cleft palate. Tobacco products, cigarettes have been able to develop, um, or they increase the chance of SIDS. They cause tissue damage along the brain and increase chances of preterm birth. Chemicals such as BPA, bisphenol A, can be ingested when exposed to heat. This can possibly result in abnormal behavior, such as ADHD. Alcohol, drinking alcohol while pregnant can cause fetal alcohol syndrome, and it affects the CNS of babies. Recreational drugs, such as marijuana, can increase the chances of stillbirth and preterm birth. And then health problems such as uncontrolled diabetes or chickenpox can develop into deadly diseases for the baby. And then these are usually exposed to via ingestion or environmental exposure. Okay, moving on. This is an e-cigarette. They come in all shapes and sizes. What are they? They're devices that produce an aerosol by heating a flavored substance that traditionally has nicotine in this little cartridge right here. How are they used? Users of this device breathe in this aerosol through the top piece and exhale. Why are they used? E-cigarettes' intended use was to ease cigarette smokers into stopping use of tobacco products. Recreational users of this product use it to achieve a feeling of high energy or bliss, referred to as buzz. The aerosols produced by this can be found to contain cancer-causing agents as well as heavy traces of metals. All right, biological forces. This more talks about the biological forces that impact your likeness to pick up e-cigarettes. So race, gender, and ethnicity and age all play a part. You're more likely to vape if you're a man, you're younger, and you're white. These are the big things. And one study found Hispanics and African Americans were found less likely to be hospitalized than non-Hispanic white adults in hospitals due to e-cigarette use. Um, but yeah, these are just some biological forces that go over that. And then it also can influence gene changes within your cell and cause dysregulation of your mitochondria, which then can release chemicals that produce signals to your immune system and create this unnecessary inflammation that could harm your immune system. Environmental factors. So air pollution, pesticide exposure, stress, all huge things that could affect. Um, uh, Air pollution can cause congenital birth defects, low birth weight, and inaltering growth restriction, which is basically something where babies do not grow to their normal weight. And then pesticide exposure mostly concerns people who work on farms, and big exposure to pesticides can result in high risk of miscarriage and low birth weight. And then stress is a big one too. Um, Stress can be related to a lot of different complications with pregnancy, especially cleft lip and cleft palate, as well as low birth weight and preterm delivery. And then some environmental forces that affect if someone uses an e-cigarette or not. So if they're in their low income area, these areas are usually more ad heavy for e-cigarettes and have more tobacco selling stores or e-cigarette selling stores too. Exposure to nicotine during childhood. If you were exposed when you were younger, you're more likely to pick up nicotine products than people who were not exposed. And then financial pressure and stress. Right? How does e-cigarette use during pregnancy affect development? So it can affect the pulmonary system and the cardiovascular system, two very important systems. This information that we know about the effects We don't really know the true effects on babies. We used animal systems to replicate long-term studies. So animal models can help us achieve the results that we desired so we can apply them to human babies. And then so for pulmonary system, you're at risk for impaired lung growth, altered alveoli size, and then for your cardiovascular, fetuses can develop altered blood flow through the umbilical artery and develop dose-dependent cardiac defects. And they can also lead to the later health complications such as asthma. And then this is exactly what I said before. Animal models are used for long-term studies and the effects of vaping while pregnant. Impact on cognition, enhance locomotor activity, which helps with the hypothesis of exposure to nicotine in the womb can result in ADHD. And then this has been, again, these are all based off animal models. And so rats, guinea pigs, and mice were all a part of this. And then selective deficits in learning. They took a mom and injected her with very low doses of nicotine over a long period of time, and her children had slow deficits in learning responses. And then these same rats had attention and memory problems when it came to doing maze tasks, and they had trouble paying attention and remembering what to do in those activities, which again, these further support the ADHD hypothesis. Okay, socio-emotional impact. Again, not too much information on this just because this is more of a long-term study. But mothers who vape during pregnancy increase their baby's risk of having behavioral abnormalities, such as the big one, ADHD. One study found that, or was able to document actually, rats when they were, or the moms who had rat children who were exposed to nicotine had lower or decreased sizes of hippocampuses, and that they were prone to have ADHD. Okay, physical impact. As an infant, low birth weight, abnormal brain development, abnormal lung functions, and then chronic ear infections. We talked about the lung function, not being able to develop to its full size, and then abnormal brain development, ADHD, a smaller hippocampus possibly. And then with chronic ear infections, it tends to be more of a recent problem, and that's because nicotine can lower blood pressure and constrict most blood vessels in the body, including those in the ear. And that nicotine exposure is also thought to interfere with the neurotransmitters, auditory nerve. And then as an adult, some things that you can get from this is elevated blood pressure and increased perivascular adipose tissue. So how's the mother affected? Possible multi-generational effect, which basically just means that the mom has now exposed her child's child to nicotine, even though her child may have not been associated with nicotine, but there's a possible multi-generation effect, and this would be due to something that is called gametosis, and gametogenesis, which basically is a process where cells undergo to transform into gametes. And then most mothers who do use e-cigarettes are not advised to breastfeed. This is because of possible toxins, and it's usually just societal pressure and doctor's advice, and they're missing out on a bond that is created while breastfeeding and other benefits to that. And then decreased fertility. It's been found that nicotine and chemicals found in vapes can make it difficult for an embryo to implant on the uterus. Some ingredients, such as nitrosamines and diethyl glycol, can cause problems with your metabolic, inflammatory, pulmonary, and neurological changes that can affect one's fertility. And then on to our conclusion. This basically says that They are not, e-cigarettes are not considered to be teratogens, but they exhibit teratogenic effects, as I previously stated. I think they're teratogens. They bring nothing but bad, and I would highly advise that no one use them, pregnant or not. And a reminder that these are not FDA approved approaches to stop smoking. They are not like nicotine reduction therapies, such as nicotine gum and nicotine containing patches. Right? It's up to you to decide if you think it's a teratogen or not, but in this case, I am going to say it is. Here are my references. Thank you.